الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومطاعنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون صدق الله العظيم. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم العهد الذي بيننا وبينهم الصلاة فمن تركها فقد كفر أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Respected ulama kiram, elders, beloved brothers in Islam, one of what we refer to as Ashratu Sa'ah, the signs of the onset of Qiyamah, will be the perception amongst people that time is moving very, very fast. In fact, at great length Rasulullah ﷺ described it. He said, years will appear to be months, months will appear to be weeks, weeks will appear to be days, and days will flash by like hours. Barely was the Hilal for Eid sighted, and already, it seems almost yesterday, and already we are on the brink of another month of Ramadan. This month of Rajab, which has started, is in fact basically the wake-up call or the siren bell that listen, Ramadan is coming. And this is indicated by the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wherein we find the masnoon dua of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the onset of Rajab, that he would make dua to Allah Ta'ala, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. That Allah bless us in the months of Rajab and Sha'ban and cause us to remain alive to experience the month of Ramadan. So in other words, the preparation for Ramadan should have already started. One is Nabi S.A.W. would make dua. If you look in the lives of the Salaf Salihin, the anticipation that they had for the coming month of Ramadan. And more importantly, for you and I, my respected brothers, is for us to reflect that how quickly is the time not passing. How quickly is my life not passing. It seems Ramadan was yesterday, another Ramadan is coming. Eventually that time or that moment is going to come when I will have to leave this world. What is the preparation that I have made? This month of Rajab normally is synonymous. We remember the great mu'ajizah and the great miracle of Mirajun Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Majority of the ulama of the opinion that this great miracle and mu'ajizah occurred in the month of Rajab. It's not my intention, especially on the limited occasion of Jumu'ah, to recount or to go through details of the entire incident of Miraj. This was a very, very great miracle and mu'ajizah, and a great distinction and honor that was accorded to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and definitely as an ummah. There is absolutely no doubt in the fact that every one of us should take the trouble, especially in this month, of reading, referring to the kitabs, referring to the ulama kiram, and going through the detailed description of Mi'rajun Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But my intention, my respected brothers, is just to delve on a few aspects. What are the lessons of Mi'raj? Behind this great mu'jizah and miracle, what is it important as an ummah? Every year for us to revisit, for us to take stock of, for us to analyze, for us to look at. On the one hand, many of the ulama were of the opinion that Mi'rajun Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a means of consolation. Great tests, trials, tribulations had befallen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, particularly prior to the occurrence of Miraj. Amongst these, one is the maut and the death of Abu Talib, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was a pillar of support. That in itself requires detail. Like I said, time is limited. The other for us to appreciate what a great test it was, understand it in the light of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wherein my Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Udhitu fillah, ma lam yu'dha ahad, ukhiftu fillah, ma lam yakhaf ahad, wa laqad atat alayya 30 min bayni yawmi wa layla, ma li wa li Bilal ma ya'kuluhu dhu kabid illa ma yuwari bihi ibtu Bilal." Or kama qala an-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, I suffered in the way of Allah propagating this deen more than any human being ever suffered. I was made to fear more than any human being ever feared. And they passed upon me and Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu 1 month, 30 consecutive days. And there wasn't sufficient for both of us to eat besides what Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu could conceal underneath his armpits. In the light of this hadith, understand, he said, Adam alayhi salam, to the last person to come before Qiyamah, no human being was persecuted and made to suffer like I was made to suffer. And yet, in the famous hadith of Aisha radiyallahu anha, when this question is put, that what was the hardest day of your life? What was the hardest day of your life? What was the greatest trial, the greatest suffering, the greatest persecution that you underwent? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded, it was the incident of Taif. So one hand, the death of Abu Talib. The other hand, the incident of Taif. And third thing ulama mentioned, and which we are going to give a little bit of attention to, is the maut and death of Sayyidina Khadijah radiyallahu ta'ala anha. This was the first person that had accepted Islam. This was that personality when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam returned from Ghar Hira, having underwent a life-changing experience. When Jibreel came the first time, and the first 5 verses of Surah Alaq were revealed, and he was informed that he is the Nabi of Allah. He came home in a panic. Zammiluni, dathiruni, cover me up. He was shaken up. This was a life-changing experience. The first person that he turned to was his partner Sayyidina Khadijah radiyallahu ta'ala anha. One riwayat it is mentioned, he said to her that, Ya Khadijah, in qata ayyamun nawmi war raha. O Khadijah, the days of sleep and rest for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have come to an end. Man ad'u, man yastajib. Kaabatullah, 360 idols. Kaabatullah, 360 idols. The markaz of Allah's tawheed, there are 360 idols. And Allah has placed upon His shoulder the responsibility of introducing the entire humanity to tawheed and the oneness of Allah. Imagine the mountainous task that had been placed on His shoulders. Naturally, He says the days of sleep and rest have come to an end. Who am I going to call? Who is going to listen? What does she say? Anta awwalu man tad'u wa ana awwalu man astajib. Ya Rasulullah, you be the first to give the da'wat. I will be the first to say labbaik on your da'wat. What was happening? What was happening? Practically, the entire ummah till Qiyamah, every husband, every wife, was being shown through the home of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is the role of the wife? What is the role of the wife? She is a partner with the husband. Not nowadays. Husband and wife get together to do what? To see how many investments, how much of money, to check how the home is, latest function. Our entire value system has been turned upside down. Khadijah radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she was the first to place her hand in the hand of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She is the one who went to Waraqa bin Nawfal. She is the one that planted the first seeds of tabligh and da'wat of this ummah after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So that practically every wife till Qiyamah is made to understand from the home of Nubuwwat, what is your role, what is your mission, what is your maqsad. And what was the level of her qurbani? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stands on Mount Safa. Ya Jibreel, walladhi nafsu Muhammadin biyadihi, ma amsa li ali Muhammad suffatun min daqiq, wala kaffatun min sha'ir. Jibreel, today, the day has come upon the home of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there isn't one grain of wheat or one strand of barley. My home is empty. Which home? Which home? The home of Khadijah radiyallahu anha. Who was Khadijah? The richest woman in Makkah before Islam. Before Islam, the richest woman in Makkah. After Islam, after Dawat and Tabligh, after accepting the responsibility of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this wife, this mother of ours, this mother of the entire ummah, sacrifices everything. She empties her home so that my Nabi stands on Mount Safa and says there isn't one grain of wheat or even one strand of barley in the home of the richest woman of Makkah. Such qurbani she gave. Such qurbani she gave. One occasion Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jibreel comes to him. Ya Rasulullah, Khadijah is on her way to you. Khadijah is on her way to you. She has prepared some food. She is bringing it to you. Ya Rasulullah, Khadijah has suffered greatly. Allah has sent me Jibreel to convey Allah's salams to Khadijah. Convey the salams of Allah to Khadijah and tell her she has suffered greatly. She need not worry. She need not worry. In this world she has suffered for this deen. Her home in Jannat is already prepared. La sakhaba fihi wa la ta'ab. There will be no tiredness, no suffering, no taklif, no hardship, no difficulty. The first personality of this ummah to receive salams from Allah was a woman, Sayyidina Khadijah radiyallahu ta'ala anha. The first personality of this ummah to sacrifice 100% their wealth in the way of the deen of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a woman, Sayyidina Khadijah radiyallahu ta'ala anha. And she receives the basharat of a home in Jannat in this world. That type of qurbani and sacrifice she gave. Imagine, in Shi'ab Abi Talib, in the valley of Abu Talib, when for 3 years, the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is boycotted. Their food is cut off. Their water and drink is cut off. They're not allowed to trade. Such levels of hunger that the baby Fatima radiyallahu anha holds onto the dress of her mother Khadijah, saying, Ummi al-Atash, Ummi al-Atash, Ummi al-Atash. Oh my mother, I am thirsty. Oh my mother, I am thirsty. Oh my mother, I am thirsty. There was no food, there was no water. This type of qurbani was given. 3 years, the entire family suffered like that, to such an extent that in the 10th year of Nubuwwat, when the boycott is lifted, eventually all this taklif, all this persecution, all this hunger, all this hardship takes its toll, and Khadijah radiyallahu ta'ala anha passes away. This is referred to as Amul Huzn, the year of grief. One side Abu Talib passed away, other side Khadijatul Kubra radiyallahu anha passed away, other side the incident of Taif took place around this time. Ulama say it was a form. This is one opinion. Allah knows best. This is one opinion. Ulama say this Mirajun Nabi was a form of consolation. Consolation, because a mountain of dukh, a mountain of huzn, a mountain of grief, a mountain of taklif had fallen on the shoulders of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in one night, look at the manner in which Quran introduces this mu'jiza and miracle. No other surah of the Quran starts like this. Subhan. With this word Subhan, this is the only surah. 114 surahs in the Quran. Only one surah starts with this. Why? Subhan. Ulama explain. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. Why Subhan? What does Subhan mean? It means Allah is Pak, Allah is pure, and more importantly, Allah is free of the limitations and obstacles and rules and principles which govern the creation of Allah. Miraj was a miracle that defied logic. It defied logic. First, Masjid al-Haram. First, what occurs? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is taken to Hatim, the section of Kaabatullah that is in the Kaaba. But outside nowadays, in the Hatim, he is made to lay down. The second time in his life, open heart surgery takes place. Where is the theater? Where is the ventilation machine? Where is the life support system? Where is the anesthetic? Where's the doctor? Where's the surgeon? Every principle of physics, every principle of biology, every principle of anatomy is defied. Subhan, Allah is Pak of all this. With the hand of Jibreel, the chest of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is opened up. The heart is removed. While he is looking at Jibreel, the heart is bathed in Zamzam. While he is looking at the Malaika, then from a container, Noor is filled into this heart. And this heart is put back into the chest. The chest is sealed without any marks. Like we find when somebody goes for a bypass or open heart surgery, the marks that remain as a result of the stitches, none of the effects. Subhan, Allah is free of all this. Second, Masjid Haram to Masjid Aqsa through the 7 heavens. What is this distance? What is this distance? Scientists estimate. Reality only Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam know best. We look up, we see the sun. The sun, what we call a solar system. Sun, 9 planets, 31 moons, 30,000 asteroids, thousands of comets and meteors. Sun is only one star. One star, it is part of a galaxy. What is this galaxy referred to? As the Milky Way. They say it's a conjunction of 17 galaxies. One super galaxy where we are found. The sun we see, the sun is a speck of dust compared to the rest of the Milky Way, to the rest of this galaxy. The diameter of the sun, 1,392,000 kilometers, more than 120,000 times the size of the earth. The sun is one star. There is one star in the same galaxy. The diameter is 400 million kilometers. There is one star, the diameter is 1.4 billion kilometers. This one galaxy, what they call the Milky Way, how vast is it? They say if you travel at the speed of light travels at 186,282 miles per second. Call it 300,000 kilometers a second. If you travel at that speed in 1 year, you'll cover a distance of 9.5 trillion kilometers. They say this one galaxy, Milky Way, is a distance of 150,000 light years. Sun is one star. They estimate in this one galaxy, there are 400 billion stars. And they estimate, this is one galaxy, scientists estimate there are another 170 billion galaxies. All this form 3% of what is Sama'ud Dunya, underneath the first heaven. وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ وَحِفْظًا. Allah says in the Quran, we have beautified only Sama'ud Dunya, the first heaven, with stars. Where stars are found like the sun, this is all underneath the first heaven. Ibn Kasir rahimullah's riwayat, one occasion Sahaba asked, Nabi Pak asked the Sahaba, Hal tadrun, kam bayna as-samai wal ard. Oh my Sahaba, do you know the distance between the earth and the first heaven? One voice, every one of them said, Allahu wa rasuluhu a'lam. Allah and His Rasul know best. This is beyond us. What is the response? Nabi said, Baynahuma masiratu 500 sana. From the earth to the first heaven is a distance of 500 years, not our years. Inna yawman inda rabbik ka'alfi sanatin mimma ta'uddun. One day by your Rabb is 1,000 years of this life. 500 such years. وَمِن كُلِّ سَمَاءٍ إِلَى سَمَاءٍ مَسِيرَةُ 500 sana. From the first to the second, second to the third, third to the fourth, fourth to the fifth, fifth to the sixth, sixth to the seventh. Each heaven 500 years, 500 years, 500 years, 500 years, 500 years. فوق السماء السابع بحر بين أسفله وعلاه مسيرة 500 سنة. Rasulullah said, above the seventh heaven there is a sea. From the top to the bottom of that sea, another 500 years. ثم فوق ذلك ثمانية أوعال. Then above that are 8 angels, حاملين عرش. They are in the shape of mountain goats. بين ركبهن وأظلافهن مسيرة 500 سنة. From the knee to the ankle or the hoof of each of these angels is a distance of 500 years. أذن لي أن أحدث عن ملك من ملائكة الله عز وجل من حملة العرش أن ما بين شحمة أذنه إلى عاتقه مسيرة 700 سنة. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, look at the ajib andaz in which he says this. He says, أذن لي, Allah gave me permission. Allah gave me permission to tell you of just one angel that is holding aloft his arsh from the earlobe to the neck. Earlobe to the neck, the small distance in that angel is a distance of 700 years. ثُمَّ عَلَى ظُهُورِهِمُ الْعَرْشِ. Then on their backs is the arsh of Allah. Subhan. Allah is free of space. Allah is free of time. Allah is free of distance. Time is Allah's makhluk. Allah can stop the time. Over and above that, in this kurta and tehban, in this normal libas, not in a space suit, It is said every human being, there is approximately 1 ton, 1,000 kilometers of atmospheric pressure that is pressing against the body of every human being. Why doesn't this pressure destroy us? Because inside your body, Allah has set up a system of blood pressure, which fights or repels or neutralizes the outside pressure that is put upon you by the wind or the atmosphere of the earth. As you rise up, once you go above this atmosphere, the pressure outside gets less. What about the pressure that is inside? What will happen if you don't wear the space suit? The pressure that is inside will cause this body to explode. Why? Because there isn't the outside pressure to negate it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam without an atmospheric suit, without a space suit. Subhan. Allah is pak of all this. Allah is free of all this. Allah is not restricted or confined to any of the systems of science or technology or ecology or biology or anatomy. Sab makhluk hai. These are all creations. Musabbibul asbab is one Allah. Physically, bodily, from Masjid Haram, after open heart surgery, from Masjid Haram to Masjid Aqsa. What happens in Aqsa? The night before, the doorkeeper of Aqsa wants to close the door. The door is not closing. Starts forcing it. Finally he decides, one piece of wood has dropped. Never mind, I'll leave it partly open. I'll attend to it in the morning. The head padri says, no bhai. It's got nothing to do with any piece of wood. This is the night. Nabi Akhir is Zaman. The final Nabi is coming here. Tonight. This is why that door is not closing. In his ikram, the door is not closing. Tomorrow you will find that the door will close. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes. The same padri later on, as a result of the letter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, accepts Islam, and then he is killed by his people. He becomes shaheed. Nevertheless, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes. What happens? Imamat of Anbiya, physical, practical manifestation of that declaration of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, Ana Nabiyul Anbiya. I am the Nabi of even the Anbiya alayhimus salam. Physically, bodily, up to that point was on the Buraq. Up to that point, Jibreel was helping Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam along. But when Uruj ila Sama starts, when the ascension to the heaven starts, thereafter Jibreel is next to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no Buraq. He's taken directly through the Qudrat and the power of Allah. This is why Asra bi abdihi. Ulama of tafsir, those who understand Arabic will understand better. Sara bi abdihi was sufficient, or Asra abdahu was sufficient. Asra bi abdihi, alif and ba together. Why? Because he was taken directly through the Qudrat of Allah. There was no Buraq carrying him on the ascension. He was taken first heaven, Adam alayhi salam. Second heaven, Yahya Isa alayhi salam. Third heaven, Yusuf alayhi salam. Fourth heaven, Idris alayhi salam. Fifth heaven, Harun alayhi salam. Sixth heaven, Musa alayhi salam. Seventh heaven, Ibrahim alayhi salam. Beyond that, above that, until he reaches what is called Sidratul Muntaha, final point. Jibreel says, if I take one step beyond this, if I take one hair's breadth beyond this, I will be burnt to ashes. Only permission for one. On the other side, Habib. This side, Mahbub. One personality has been given permission to go beyond this point. And that is Sayyidul Awwaleen wal Akhirin. Tajdar Medina, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He goes beyond that point. Qazi Ayaz, rahimahullah, in his Shifa, mentions the riwayat of Ka'b Ahbar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Faraqani Jibreel. Firaq, separation with Jibreel took place also. It was only me. I went beyond that point. Faraqani Jibreel. Wanqata'atil aswat. There was total, complete silence. Silence, darkness, totally alone, solitary. What happens? Naturally, an element of fear. Why? He was insan. All of a sudden he says, فَسَمِعْتُ كَلَامَ رَبِّي. I heard Kalamullah. I heard Allah speaking to me directly. Allah spoke to me, and Allah said, لِيَهْدَأْ رُوعُكَ لِيَهْدَأْ رُوعُكَ. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Ya Habibi udnu. Ya Habibi udnu. Ya Habibi udnu. Oh my beloved. Oh my beloved. Oh my beloved. Venture even further. What was the level of qurb? What was the kamal of qurb? What was the height of ascension? Conversation takes place. Like I said, time is very limited. I'm not going to go into detail. One extract of the hadith. Ya Rabbi, اتخذت إبراهيم خليلا وآتيته ملكا عظيما وكلمت موسى تكليما وآتيت داود ملكا عظيما وألنت له الحديد وآتيت سليمان ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعده وسخرت له الريح والجن والشياطين وأحييت لعيسى الموتى فماذا جعلت لي. Oh my Allah, oh my Allah, Adam Safiyullah, your chosen one, Musa Kalimullah, you spoke to him, Dawud alayhi salam, a kingdom, such a kingdom you soften let for him, Sulaiman alayhi salam, a kingdom the like of which no one will ever receive, Jinnat, Shayateen, wind subjugated for him, for Isa alayhi salam, Ruhullah, Kalimatullah, you brought the dead to life, فَمَاذَا جَعَلْتَ لِي فَمَاذَا جَعَلْتَ لِي. Oh my Allah, what have you kept for me? What is the response? Crux of it, lengthy response, one section. أَوَلَيْسَ قَدْ آتَيْتُكَ أفضل من ذلك كله. Oh my beloved, have I not given you better than all this? Adam Safiyullah, Musa Kalimullah, Ibrahim Khalilullah, Isa Ruhullah. Amma anta, amma anta, amma anta. فَمَكْتُوبٌ فِي التَّوْرَاتِ Muhammadun Habibur Rahman. Muhammadun Habibur Rahman. You are the beloved of Allah. You are the chosen of Allah. You are the most beloved of Allah. And then Allah dhukirt illa dhukirta ma'i. From now till Qiyamah, my name will not be taken except your name will be taken with my name. Like I said, detail. There's no time to go into the detail. What was given? What was given? Miraj, ascension, like the like of which boggles the mind. What was given? What did he come back with? What was the gift of Miraj? What was the sabak of Miraj? What was the haqiqat of Miraj? What was he given? He was given the panacea. He was given the solution to every problem that will ever face the ummah till Qiyamah. What was he given? Daniel alayhi salam says, Zukira lana anna, Daniel alayhi salam, Qadada says, Zukira lana anna Daniel alayhi salam, Naata ummata Muhammad. That Qadada says that it is mentioned to us that Daniel alayhi salam, several thousand years before this ummah could come into existence, praised this ummah and said that Allah has given the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam such a salah, lo a'taha qawm Nuhin ma ghuriqu, wa lo a'taha qawm Thamud wa qawm Aad ma akhadathum as-sayha wa ma ursilat alayhim ar-rih al-aqib. If the same salah was given to ummah Nuh alayhi salam, they would not have drowned. Qawm Aad, Qawm Samud, if they received this salah, the azab of Allah that befell those nations would never have befallen to them. What was he given? He was given salah, such an amal. Isa alayhi salam, cradle, in the cradle, a baby. فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. They said, how can we speak to a child who is in the cradle? What happens? Miraculously, إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ آتَانِيَ الْكِتَابِ وَجَعَلَنِي نَبِيًّا وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ وَأَوْصَانِي بِالصَّلَاةِ. أَوْصَانِي بِالصَّلَاةِ. Anbiya alayhimus salam, Isa alayhi salam, from the cradle, you have been commanded with salah. Ismail alayhi salam, وَكَانَ يَأْمُرُ أَهْلَهُ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ, commanded with salah, commands his family with salah. Maryam alayhi salam, the mother of Isa alayhi salam, Ya Maryam uqnuti warka'i wasjudi ma'ar raki'in. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, direct command, Aqim salah, establish salah. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَبْ. And the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, 10 times. 10 times, 10 times. For Allah to say once was sufficient. For Allah to command once was sufficient. Yet 10 times, Aqimus salah, Aqimus salah, Aqimus salah, Aqimus salah, Aqimus salah, Aqimus salah. It is as if the earth is shouting, The sky is shouting, the mountains are shouting, the rivers are shouting, the trees are shouting. This entire creation that Allah subjugated for you. سَخَّرَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارِ سَخَّرَ لَكُمُ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ دَائِمَيْنِ وَآتَاكُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ وَإِنْ تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا أَنَّا صَبَبْنَا الْمَاءَ صَبًّا ثُمَّ شَقَقْنَا الْأَرْضَ شَقًّا فَأَنْبَتْنَا فِيهَا حَبًّا وَعِنَبًا وَقَضْبًا وَزَيْتُونًا ونخلا وحدائق غلبا وفاكهة وأبا متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم. Look at the verses of the Quran. No time, intersperse this ni'mat, this bounty, that bounty. Allah is raining down His bounties upon you. Is it not His haqq? Is it not His haqq? Is it not His right that at least 5 times a day this forehead should be put on the ground before Allah? What was the sabak of Miraj? I'll terminate. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, Lil abdi bayna yaday Allahi mawqifan. There are 2 occasions. There are 2 occasions. There are 2 occasions. Every slave of Allah will stand in Allah's court. Mawqifun bayna yadayhi fi salatihi. The first occasion is when that muazzin calls out Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. When that Allah's caller calls out Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. What are you being summoned? Allah is summoning you to His court. Allah is summoning you to His court. So that when you say Allahu Akbar, every boundary, every obstacle, space is brought together. Time is stopped. Everything is brought together and you are introduced directly in Allah's court. Allah is hearing you right directly. Allah is speaking to you directly. Allah is listening to you directly. The mazhara of your ishq and your muhabbat is when this mata is put on the ground and you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. He says the first occasion you will present yourself in Allah's court is when Allah's muazzin calls out Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And the second occasion Yawma liqa'i Rabbihi, is the day of Qiyamah, the day when you will physically present yourself in Allah's court. فَمَنْ قَامَ بِحَقِّ الْمَوْقِفِ الْأَوَّلِ هُوِّنَ عَلَيْهِ الْمَوْقِفِ الْآخَرِ. He said, fulfill the haqq of the first standing. Fulfill the haqq of the first standing. Miraj ka sabak, bahut bari sabak. Miraj ka haqiqat, the reality of Miraj, the lesson of Miraj. 5 times salah. 5 times salah in the masjid with Jamaat. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Fulfill the haqq of the first standing. هُوِّنَ عَلَيْهِ الْمَوْقِفِ الْآخَرِ. He says the second standing on the day of judgment will be made easy for you. وَمَنِ اسْتَهَانَ بِهَذَا الْمَوْقِفِ وَلَمْ يُوَفِّ حَقَّهُ. Make a mockery of this first standing. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah says, make a mockery of this first standing and don't fulfill its haqq. شُدِّدَ عَلَيْهِ ذَلِكَ الْمَوْقِفِ. The second standing will be made difficult for you. My respected brothers, many lessons, many things he was shown. He was shown Jannat, he was shown Jahannam. He was shown the A'mal and the bad A'mal of this ummah. Take the trouble to learn, but accept the lesson, accept the haqiqat, accept the reality. Come as come. At least this much. Sabak of Miraj, Qabuliyat of the gift of Miraj is to make this ahad and intention. From now till I die, not one salah will be made qada. Allah give us tawfiq.